It's always
Ooh,
a,
what's this?
always a.
So
surprise.
our sponsor of today is Venue Valet, who's hosting the conference, the Dine in Cinema Summit next week. And we get to be a speaker talking about We there. So hopefully we'll get some new members. And I do want to encourage everybody that's on the call today, if you have a friend, at least one person, tell them about We and see if we can help grow in 2022. Because we've been remarkably existent with, I think Pat's probably done the most. She reached into her arsenal of people and all of a sudden we had this barrage of new members. I'm like, nothing like the Pat Gonzalez magic touch to to bring in new members.
Had the Pat G effect.
The Pat G is in the house.
Yeah, amen to that.
This
Just give it
is
just
a great organization. And it is really about spreading the word. So Heather, you and everyone, you do a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2022 challenge.
Yeah, and so I can't wait to share a little bit about that. But so first, I guess what time is it now? So I just want to take it too late in the
12:04.
okay. Just a few more minutes. I'm sure people are logging on. They're trying. So in case anybody's having a hard time, Kim Luck saying the same thing.
Well, Heather, while we're waiting, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what the Dine in Cinema Summit is?
So the Dine in Cinema Summit is, it's interestingly enough, I'm sure you guys all can recognize that in 2022, people have gotten real used to going and staying at home and eating when they're watching a movie, right? So it's like, it's kind of the time where
I
think we lost Heather.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Oops.
Technology, I swear.
Yeah.
Somebody texting her. Pedro and everybody else, hello, hello, hello.
Hi, Pat.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Pat, I tried to get my boss, Jim Nowicki, on. He's in meetings all day today. He's like, I wish I could.
Oh my goodness. Please give Jim my best. Jim and I go way back to the
Oh
gym.
yeah, no, he's like, oh yeah, I worked with her at General Cinema and all this stuff. So he's like, she's goes so great.
He's the best.
And where's our wonderful host? One moment.
Pat, we're working on getting two Paramount titles for our next issue. I'm very excited, though I still can't wait for Maverick. That's
Yeah,
that's my
Rebecca.
somehow or another it dropped off. So sorry, you guys. Thank God I had co-hosts.
yay, Fred.
Yay, Fred, Jessica. I knew people were coming in. Yay. Okay, they're coming. So the Dine in Cinema Summit is a pretty getting a valid meeting. Oh my God. I'm just sending away. Oh my God.
Heather, were you telling me yesterday that that Mercury's in retrograde?
It is so in retrograde.
there
Can
you
you
go.
believe
I
this
think I
nonsense?
might have mentioned that to you too.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
So I tried to send the Zoom link because the Luma link was Sabrina Starr even told me it was being a little inconsistent, I guess. Here's another one. They're just keep telling me they're not being able to get it. So I'm just sending this. I need the Google code. Let me just send this.
Yeah, it keeps giving an error message when you try to log on.
Okay, well, this is anyway, so that's what the Dine in Cinema Summit is just the kind of information about how cinemas can add this new potential program to their offering and what technology is out there and how they can just kind of upgrade their cinema so they can watch these amazing movies like A Quiet Place and like a Top Gun while drinking a beer, right? And having a burger. So without further ado, let's kind of get with the program. Just keep hitting the announcement. Pat, I'm so sorry.
No,
Look at this.
he's in
Look
the-
Tomorrow?
at they're just coming. I knew they would. So I guess they're all getting this message a little bit delayed. Valerie, here comes Valerie. Hi, everybody. Oh my God. This is great. Here they come. So Kelly, you're able to log these on, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Pat Gonzalez. Oh my God. The history of Pat. And so, as you know, and everybody knows, Women in Exhibition, when we do our speaker series, we try to find somebody who's interesting. We like to find somebody that's had a great journey that can share with us a little bit about how they got where they're going. And Pat has a pretty long history in our industry and is probably considered one of the nicest women in cinema exhibition across the board. I don't think I've ever met a person that didn't just, say, I love Pat. So we were so honored to have her chat with us and tell us about her journey. So I understand that you've been enjoying cinema for a really long time. Could you tell us a little bit about like your beginning time when you were first fell in love with exhibition?
Yes. Well, I will tell you that it's hard to even say this, but I started in the business December 30th, 1980. And I had never been on a job interview. And a friend of mine worked at a movie theater at the General Cinema in Sherman Oaks. And they asked me if I wanted to work. And I said no. So I reluctantly said no to the industry way back then. But I ended up taking the job. And it was a 1 day a week job. Favorite job still to this day, a concession attendant.
Okay.
And that's where my love for the movie business began. I have really great memories of going to the movies. I was a 9-year-old and a chaperone for my 17-year-old cousin. So I saw movies that really were way outside of my lane. Movies like The Godfather, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That's, I think, where my love of cinema started.
Okay.
My love of the business started when I started working at a movie theater. And I'm so grateful. I mean, for those of you men and women out there that represent exhibition, when you think about, this is how I correlate what the theater side of the business means to our industry, is when you say the medical profession works because of the nurses, that's how I equate exhibition, and especially the theater staff, a job I'm very proud of. It's my foundation for, I think, who I am today, even as an executive, are the things that I learned when I was part of a team working in a movie theater, working crazy, ridiculous hours.
Did you, learning food and beverage, any of the stuff that you learned in general, how did that help you today? Do you look at and kind of have sympathy, empathy, understanding? Like, what does it do for you right now?
You know what? I feel like, and while I don't know what it is like to operate a theater today, because I worked at a very busy 2-building 5-plex that opened every movie every week. We did an outrageous amount of business. So there was a lot of velocity, but I wasn't operating a 24-plex. It taught me a lot just about the business. And for us on the side of the business that we're on today, it really is important to understand the exhibition side of the business, and especially what I'm going to call grassroots, which is what the theater business is. It's why my team and I and our company has so much respect and admiration, and why we don't want to ever miss any GM conference or any opportunity to interface with the theater and the managers and the staff themselves. Is it really does train you in a way that is sort of remarkable. So what we do today, we always think about how is this good for our partner, because it was a mantra that I adopted very early on at my DreamWorks days, which was we should not ever be introducing anything that isn't also good for one of our partners. So understanding the concession side of the business, understanding the box office, understanding all the components, I think, of what it takes to operate a theater is important. I think not only in the job that we do today, when it, you talk about in theater marketing, but I think it's important for the business. We had a thing at General Cinema. If you were an executive that was hired in and you had never worked in the business, they made you work in a theater. I think that is so critical. It was such a great way to introduce somebody. And I happened to be a theater manager at a theater that was near our head office in Sherman Oaks. So we had everyone coming through there, and it was always very fascinating, very eye-opening for people. I think if you don't understand it, it's why I have such great respect for, people like Mitch and Matt with CinemaCon. People show up to the show and think, oh, this just kind of got thrown together. And you think about all the time and energy that it takes to put on an event like CinemaCon, but more importantly, just open your front doors for business in a movie theater.
Yeah. So you did that for how many years?
I was on the exhibition side for 16 years, and I worked 11 of them in the field, and I
Yeah.
put, movies on screen. I went to projection school, but I never had to do that, thank goodness. And
Oh,
then
wow.
I moved into the home office to work on the marketing side. And that's sort of where, I got more involved. I'll be honest with you, I loved marketing. That was my favorite part of the theater business,
Mhm.
working in the field. And I love people, so it would kind of fit everything. And there was a lot of opportunity for creativity. When I moved into the home office, it was a national role, and it gave me an opportunity to work in a different respect and way with, our studio partners.
Right. So then you took this job and you went on to DreamWorks, and was it the same kind of role, or was this a whole brand new thing for you at DreamWorks?
Different role, approaching the business from the opposite side. I mean, I'll tell you, it's a good transition to make from the exhibition side of the business to the studio side of the business, because when you're an exhibitor, you have the good fortune of working with every studio partner. So what everyone does and how they do it. And while
Yeah.
everyone sort of aspires to do the same things, because we're all in the same business, we're trying to drive more bodies into theaters to sit in chairs to experience our movies. Everyone does it a little differently. So
Yeah.
I was very lucky. I have to give a little shout out to Nancy Cleater. Nancy Cleater was very instrumental. General Cinema had a very close relationship with all the studios, but in particular, we had a very special, unique relationship with Disney, and we did a lot with them. And I got a deeper perspective on the other side of the business from the studio side. She invited me to an amazing event in London for 101 Dalmatians. That was like 5 months before I ran into Jim Tharp at CinemaCon, and he said, "Is there any chance you might want to come over to DreamWorks?" Well, at that event in London, I met the heads of the top 12 exhibition companies that I wouldn't have had a relationship with, and bonded with them. So that
yeah.
4 months later, when I got asked whether or not DreamWorks was a possibility, it all sort of crystallized for me.
Right. And so coming from this cinema side and going to the studio side, you've learned a little bit about things that worked at exhibition, right? So you could literally say to the studio partners, hey, this was a successful type of campaign. Is there anything that in your memory right now that you think that was so much fun to come create with now that you worked with all your really tight cinema partners, like one of your favorite stories?
I think the eventizing side of the business is probably the one that, for me, I find the most interest in, and the one that brings me probably the greatest joy. Creating fanfare and letting fans know how important they are, and trying to reinforce that piece of it. That's probably the things that I most enjoy now. I love, the fan events that we create and that a lot of studios create to deliver something extra special. I'll tell you something, and this goes way back in the day, and to this day, I'm still trying to figure out, how do we do this, but how do you do it in the modern day version? Disney did something for Dick Tracy where your ticket was a t-shirt, and it's so almost impossible to execute.
Yeah.
But the premise of it was so incredibly cool. But you get potentially left a lot of t-shirts on the table. But it was the idea that you bought your t-shirt for a certain price and you got to see it on a certain day, and it was part of a big event. It's things like that stuck in the back of my head that made me realize, okay, this is how you continue to, create that demand and urgency to fuel the greatest moviegoers. And those are the big hardcore fans. When a movie's announced and it's a big movie, they aspire to buy their ticket first and get out there to see it. It's something like that I remembered that I've taken on to, my studio days today, which is, the creating moments, displays, props, those things were being done in the 80s. We did it very closely and successfully with our partners at Fox. I still remember the topiaries for Edward Scissorhands in our building. Those things, it's funny. There's so much that has evolved in our business, and then so much that is the same, that people today still think it's really amazing and cool. And it's that idea of showcasing something in theaters that reminds you how special the business is. You know,
I love seeing all the great standees, and I know you're good friends with Tommy Dreesy. He was a client of mine way back in the day, and I always see when he posts stuff, you're like, "Hi, Tommy," and his standees were so just dynamic, right?
Yeah, you know, he has an incredible creative mind, and it is, you know, to me, those are the things that infuse our business with that like energy and excitement. And it's harder now, let's face it. You know, you go into a movie theater now with reserved seats, people
Yes.
only have a nanosecond to like fly through the lobby. So what are those moments that you can capture attention? And I think what Tommy does, especially with his eventizing of standees and displays and the things that I'm going to call photo op opportunities,
Yeah.
those are the things I think that are really extra special and unique moments that we can get that fan attention in a way that is really important, right? Another added little element to the mix of movie marketing.
So in your position now, when it comes to working with all these exhibitors, is it start with you, work down? What's the kind of hierarchy of somebody getting to you?
Well, you know what? I see a lot of my my
Colleagues.
team on this call, and I'm very grateful to them. You know, I'm going to start off by saying, boy, if you're fortunate enough to be part of a group of very committed individuals, that people that really truly care about what they do every day, you basically have won the lottery in the professional world. I'm very happy and blessed to say that that is the space that I get to sort of play in every day.
Yeah.
And so and this probably stems, to be honest with you, from my theater days, is we sort of approach everything from a team perspective. Obviously, there's hierarchy. I'm making some of the final decisions, but we collectively all talk about it. Stacy Goldstein is what I'm going to say my right hand powerhouse, and then I have
Hi, Stacy.
and then I have a team, and I'm going to give a shout out for in case any of them are on: Juliet Conroy, John Halicki, Trisha Nakamura, Renee Schofield, and Maya Marinoff. That team makes it happen for our group, and we talk about ideas. We are constantly talking about like, how do you take it to the next level? It's really hard. People are really busy. Everybody has very streamlined teams these days. So, you know, what can we do to make it feel more turnkey, yet make it feel special? I think for the partners that we have on, we're really grateful. I'm going to say to everybody, it's one of the things that for me, I've always reinforced, you know, the big chains, they're crucial. The little chains, the mom and pops, the people that own one screen, God bless you. Like you count, and we've like, you're important to us. You know, this is a business where I think everyone is meaningful and important, and everyone needs movies, whether you're in a small town with, you know, 7,000 people or in a big city with, you know, thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, I should say. We want all of you, and we want to partner up with all of you, and we try to make ourselves accessible. And I'm going to give a little shout out to Donna Freed and Sandy Holmes if they're on here, because they partner up with us as well, because they let us sort of fan out and expand. It's we'd love to do something with everyone.
Yeah.
Logistically, how do you do it? And I think what we did, what we're doing actually, for those of you that might have seen Jackass Forever, tickets went on sale yesterday. We're doing something to offer bonus content to every Playdate theater. So
Who is that?
I like someone's phone ring though. It
Oh, it
kind
might
of
have been
reminds me
Sandy.
of like the Who.
That's just
That
the
was pretty cool.
pic.
Anyway, I was just saying is, you know, those are the types of things that we're trying to do, especially now, because it's a complicated time. Like just daily life for most people is really complicated. Movies are so important to livelihood, and we're trying to do things like this simple idea. We're like, let's throw it out there. 10 minutes of bonus content. The guys got really into it, Johnny and the team, and we rolled that out yesterday. And again, small little idea, doesn't take a lot of extra money, I think,
Right.
especially if you don't have a budget to market, to be able to just say, hey, listen, Thursday night, we're giving a little something extra to the fans. Let's
Yeah,
support it, let people laugh, because I think laughing is more important now
it's
than
the
ever.
best.
And the movies that we know, like Jackass, like Scream, like A Quiet Place, like those are movies that honestly, they were made to be seen in movie theaters. So I'm happy that we get the support internally and we can amplify that out. And I'm just going to give just a general like thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. You know, we're only as good as the people that we surround ourselves with.
Yes.
And in my head, you know, Velocity, Mary and Cami, like, and that team there, they get our materials out into theaters. Crucial.
Yeah.
So the deluxe team, they get our content out into theaters. You know, for all of our friends, you know, that are our I'm going to say our partners, but you're truly our friends in exhibition. And even at the other studios, we all need each other. You know, we're only as good as one another and supporting one another. And listen, you know, I texted Anne Elizabeth Crotty opening weekend, that opening out of Spidey. And I'm like, I'm so excited for you guys. I'm so proud of you guys.
Yeah.
Way to just kill it. You know, listen, I think we all want to win. How do we do it collectively? Because I think we're strongest when we're united as an industry and celebrating movies and supporting one another. And I mean, the truth is we couldn't do it without our friends and partners in exhibition. You are our lifeblood. We see the difference when you get behind a movie. I see Rebecca Stein here, the showcase team, like you guys are a powerhouse. You're very localized, but man, do you know how to unearth, you know, creativity and create demand and urgency. And you do it in a massive way. I mean, you're not the biggest circuit, but damn it, you're pretty powerful, and you like you can replicate that and talk about everyone around the country. You know, Film Frog, Brandon, and Melissa,
Yeah.
team. You know, those are the things like we like partnering up with everyone, and we love those, especially that share sort of like the same like mind thinking, right? You know, I saw Regina on here and Jamie, you know, the Cinemark team, but they came from another industry and they brought over what they were doing and killing it over at Neiman Marcus. And
Right. Oh, Wanda, she brought the old retail to the.
You know, that team, like innovation, you know, imagination, creativity, it's all of that. That's like, to me, like the ingredients that you need for success is the ability to think outside of your comfort zone and present ideas that, you know, and I'm trying to be better about that. You know, I come across, I'm a very optimistic person. I might laugh half full. I see the light. My team will tell you, I constantly, I'm like, don't think negative, think positive. And I think they want to kill me every time I say that. But I try to see the light in everything, even though oftentimes there can be obstacles, or you see like, this is like doom and gloom. I'm like, don't let it go. And that's from my theater days.
Yeah.
Because you set out your day, and I'm a plan C, D, E. Like I have a backup plan to every backup plan. Because
Yay.
life is a series of, well, that didn't happen. How do we salvage it?
Well, I knew inviting you to speak, that I already knew that you were going to be warm and wonderful, but I forgot like how many of these folks you actually know. And I know it feels good to hear you recognize them, because the amount of work they put into this relationship between the exhibitor and the studio. But even for other studio people who are listening, like, hey, this is the world that we live in. We support each other. You know, we love seeing those fantastic box office numbers. We all cringe and cry when they're not great, and marvel at like what makes some of them just not perform well, and how others, which I do want to touch base on, because I was reading an article that our lovely Rebecca Polly wrote, and you talked about Paranormal Activity. And I went to go see that as one of your vendors, and I drove with a girlfriend. I'm like, I don't like scary movies. She goes, you realize we're going to go see Paranormal? I was like, read your email, Heather, read your email. But it was great. So I want you to tell us a little bit about, you had a story about how you didn't know it was going to be this fantastic,
Oh,
and then how you guys, what you did with that.
well, I mean, we all, when we saw the movie, we were absolutely terrified. I mean, and for those of you that haven't seen it, you have to see it at night in a very dark place, and you really should be with other people because it changes the experience altogether. Comedies and horror films, it's really, your enjoyment level is really predicated by the environment that you're in. So we all saw the movie and we were like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it was a small group that talked about like, how are we going to do this? We have like absolutely like this much of a budget. How do we create fanfare? And there are movies that I think, and just maybe projects that all of us have been part of, that you say, you know what, this was special and will probably not ever be, part of something like this. But it was a movie where I just remember sitting in a room and talking about, okay, what are the markets we're going to open? And I want to say we opened in 13 markets, and they weren't top DMAs per se, and theaters, and we picked sort of not traditional theaters, and we're going to do 2 shows. And I just remember our team was, ones that were calling the theater managers. I know we're not supposed to do that, but we were calling the theaters, what are the grosses? Because that was the way that we were getting our numbers, because it was such a small way that we released the movie. And it was unbelievable, the heat that was being created. I mean, listen, it was at the time where the internet hadn't yet exploded and it wasn't what it was today, but everything we were doing was spent on online and creating something with fans in theaters in 13 locations across the country. I remember I give a little shout out to Bob Linehan and the AMC team. AMC saw the numbers. I mean, they only had like a handful of theaters, and then they raised their hand. They're like, we're in, like, whatever you need us to do, we're in, we see it. And they became a top tier, partner with us. And it was a very slow rollout. That was about creating pent up demand, right? So
Yeah.
You only offered it up. I mean, I remember I threw out like Santa Cruz as like, hey, do we maybe want to open in Santa Cruz? And they were like, yeah, maybe we add Santa Cruz. So we added the theater in Santa Cruz. I mean, you're talking about several hundred people seeing the movie and then talking about it and then creating the hype on it. And there was such like a groundswell on it. And it was all about PR, field activation, distribution, and the in-theater marketing team sort of coming together. It was sales and this small little group of people. There was less than 10 of us sort of involved. And just seeing how things were done and how theaters were being added. And, I remember Amy Powell had this idea to, well, let's put it on demand. Let's have, fans across the country demand that they want it to come to your city. And like, we got to get to 1 million people, and then we're going to go wide. I mean, it's amazing where that movie began, and we ended up over $100 million. And we basically did it with PR and exhibition support, and obviously the online and the groundswell of fans talking about it. There's something really amazing about someone seeing something and saying, I got in.
Yeah.
And nobody else being able to get in. So it was a very cool opportunity to see, like, planting a tiny little seed and watching that seed grow and what it eventually turned into. And it was pretty awesome. It was really awesome. I think it proves the power of, when you have the right movie, that you don't need a lot to actually get it out into the world. I mean, listen, all of us cringe when we don't get the budgets that we want. And those movies are a lot of hard work, but boy, the payoff was pretty extraordinary.
I do find that the horror genre being so interesting, because they're usually not really big budgets. And then if they make it big, I mean, we all saw that Scream just completely screamed at all of us. And it's encouraging for somebody who comes out with a little movie like John Hall. I saw he's got a horror movie, and I'm like, hopefully that'll do well. So what's coming down the pike for Paramount that obviously we know some of your bigger titles, but what should we be looking out for on your upcoming slate?
Well, I mean, I think everyone knows, I mean, in 2.5 weeks, we open Jackass, and I'll tell you, it's probably the biggest production for a Jackass movie that anyone has ever seen. There's a lot of additional effects, and it's all the wackiness. I'll tell you, it is just a good time. I mean, it is crazy and over the top, but if you like to laugh, you got to check that one out. I mean, we have a really, I'm very proud of our slate. We have a really strong spring, summer, and, fall. We have Mission 7, so you can never balk at a big, Tom Cruise event movie. I'll tell you that I'm incredibly excited about The Lost City, which is our paying homage to movies like Romancing the Stone, which back in my day, I remember working in a movie theater and doing just constant sellouts of that movie.
Yep, I love
We have
it.
something special with that one. I think there's a lot of really outstanding chemistry. And that's, to me, I go to the movies. You don't have to change my life when I go to the movies. I just want to go to the movies to have a really good time and walk out and feel like, that was awesome. I want to tell my friends to see this. I think that's Lost City. I think we
Very
have
good.
something that's really special there. I saw Sonic and I absolutely loved it. It is a big kick-ass movie that you can bring your kids to. It is, I mean, if you like the first one, I think you'll
Oh,
absolutely
good.
one. So that one's a super fun one. Of all our movies, I will tell you the one I'm most excited about is Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
saw it. It's now been a long time since I've seen it, but
Yeah.
it was
just,
it was just so, like, it left me just like I couldn't move, and then in my head I'm like, oh my God, I could actually come back in and see it again.
Well, I've been going to the movies by myself lately, and I guarantee you, because my husband's kind of roller coaster with not feeling good. So I just go, and I love sitting there by myself, taking it all in. So I will go see that one, whether he's with me or not, or whoever's in LA that'll go with me, like Selby. So I'm excited. So I'm going to ask you like one more question, and I'm going to open it up around the room because everybody wants to say hi to you, and you usually take about 30 minutes to get through it. And we'll see if you have any extra time, because I have a feeling we have a lot of people here today. You have the biggest turnout that we've had in a long time, just so you know. I think everyone wanted to see Pat. So the last question is, obviously the ghost in the room is 2022. What do you predict? What do you see that with all this nonsense? I really didn't want to do anything negative, but I thought, what do you predict for this year, and with with this ongoing pandemic, and anything you feel like sharing? You don't have to get deep.
No, I mean, listen, we had this conversation yesterday, right? I'm not a super long-term planner, right? So in my head, and this is the reality of it is, I try really hard not to worry about the things that I personally can't control, right?
Yep.
The world is like spinning at a velocity, with just watching what happens on the news, watching what's happening with the pandemic, with just everything going on. I think we have a unique opportunity as an industry that brings such joy and such diversion, and is, in my opinion, a calming and soothing way that we as human beings can actually laugh together, cry together, be moved together. So what we're doing, it's always been important, but I think it's so much more important today. And I try really hard not to think about like, oh my God, what if it Omicron, like what's the next virus, like offshoot of I try so hard not to lean into those things. And I know it's in our brains, and I know it's things that we think about. In my head, I'm trying to think about like, what do we do? What's additive? Like, what do we do to ensure that we're giving every movie a chance to succeed? Because everyone's watching one another, right?
Yep.
I'm so happy we didn't move Scream, because it was incredibly important to show, and the Sony team and every studio that released product in 2021, right? When we can release it, I understand there's reasons that things have to get released day and date and in theaters, but holy smokes, when you can only get it in theaters, let's just shout that from the rooftops.
Heck yeah.
And I'm hopeful that as an industry that we can, make that realization that it's important to stay. And I mean, sometimes I understand why we sometimes have to move, because, you know, when you have big tentpole titles, if business is down 30% globally, I mean, it could be hundreds of millions of dollars, and not everyone can take a hit like that.
Yeah.
No one can take a hit like that. That's the truth of it. But I think there are movies that we have on the release schedule that are great movies that really, like, to fully get the experience, you got to see them in theaters. You know, everything that we're doing together collectively, I think the one thing I would say to all of us, not just our friends in exhibition, not just our studio people, not just our vendors, like, but how do we come together and really just, on every movie, right? I mean, there's so many nuances to how movies get marketed and released, but what do we do when we know a movie's coming? Like let's leave no stone unturned for every movie. I know that can't happen. I know I'm a pie in the sky person, but I'm going to challenge everyone to just, whatever we were doing before, let's ramp up. That's what we're trying to do. How do we ramp up? What other things can we do? Like taking chances, testing new ideas. You know, Tuesday night is a big killer night at the movies.
Yeah.
And that's why is that? Because, you know, 90% plus of exhibition has some sort of a special price.
Yeah, and it's fun. I do it too. Yeah.
It's what do we do, and how do we encourage new ideas and stepping outside of those traditional boundaries to do things, especially midweek, and especially with, you know, unique content and just, I don't know. I know it's hard for all of us sometimes to stay centered. There's so much that we all have to think about. There's so many responsibilities that we all have, right, in our jobs, in our personal lives. How do we stay centered and try really hard not to think about what ifs? That's for me, is I try to sort of be grounded. And I know, you know, the world is not rosy every day, but heck, I tried to see the rosy world every day if I can.
I think we can all tear a page out of your book, Pat. I really do. So I want to let you meet as many of our guests as we can. So y'all, first of all, make sure you take a look in the chat. If you'd like to add your LinkedIn over there in the chat so other people can connect with you. And as I reach out to you, say your name and what company you're with if you like. And then if you have a question for Pat, feel free to ask her. But if you have a question for the group, some of you have reached out to me and said you had questions, like, this is what Women in Exhibition is all about, is the group. And know that we are starting a mentoring program. So if any of you are thinking you wouldn't mind being mentoring or wouldn't mind being a mentor or mentee, make sure you let me know. So I'm going to start with Kelly. I'm just going to move kind of quickly, but I look forward to you guys saying hi to Pat. Kelly, go.
Hello, and thank you so much, Pat. You are my dream. You are who I aspire to maybe kind of sort of someday be almost like. You are amazing. So thank you. And of course, I wouldn't be Mama T if I didn't do a selfie. So can I do a selfie with you?
Of course.
Oh, she got to do a selfie.
All right. So smile big, and we'll see if I can get this silly thing to work, because I am at a different place now. So here we go. Smile.
All right.
Oh shoot! Wait a minute. It didn't work. All right, I'm gonna try one more time. I'm one.
Yeah, that's not a good one.
No, it's not. One moment, and we will try this one more. Smile. Okay, that was kind of.
Okay.
All right. Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you again.
I will move on. So our next special guest is Salvi.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Patty. Thank you so much for speaking today. It was very, very positive, encouraging. I appreciate it. I wanted to pose a question to you, and this is for the group as well. I'd love to get you guys' feedback. In regards to what you said, thinking outside the box in these crazy times, we've actually partnered up with a company that does the 3D conversions. We've partnered up with a group, with a fund we're putting together to come and offset the cost for special formats for exhibition and help with marketing costs. And I wanted to know if that's something you think would be of any help with exhibitors moving forward.
You know, I'm a big proponent of the premiere experience, right? Like, I love the 40X, I love the D box, I love, you know, the Dolby Cinema, the IMAX, all those things to me, I think, again, elevate it. In my head, it's like, it's the front row at a concert, right? Like it's something that takes the movie experience to another level. Our operations team, I think we have, the best. I'm say that it's Mark, the pianos, and that team. And I don't know if you've talked to them. Mark has always been incredibly open to hear new ideas and new thoughts. And our company has, even from our DreamWorks days, DreamWorks and Paramount have been very open to these ideas of taking the movie experience to that next level. And especially if it's catering to a younger audience, because that's what I'm all about, right? Like, what do we do now to make it so that kids and teens want to go to the movies? Because those are the audiences that are a little harder to get, especially, that 18 to 24-year-old as well. So if your company is actually doing something that, what I'm going to say, puts the regular theatrical experience sort of on steroids because you are offering something additional, I think we need to make sure you're connected to the right people.
Yeah, I would love to connect with you and whoever you think we should talk to, and anyone else in this group as well. Yes, I would love your help. I tried to get in there through another route, and I got a little pushback from some of the old school guys who were not outside the box thinkers like yourself. So
yeah, no, I mean, listen, sometimes certain formats and ideas kind of have to be, what I'm going to say, sort of massaged, right? Because it's like, maybe it doesn't work exactly like this, but maybe there is a way to test model. So happy to connect you to the right team at our company.
Thank you so much. I will go through Heather. Thank you.
Okay, yes. All right, guys. And remember, put your LinkedIn in the chat. We'll move on. Mary Reinhardt, please say hello.
Hey, Pat. Obviously, I'm from Carasotas. I don't really have any questions, but I talked to Trisha about this, I think within the last week. I just want to say that you guys and the team and Interactive are killing it, pun intended, with Scream. Between all the TikTok stuff that I've been seeing and then the Facebook film group, I was blown away by the entire marketing campaign. And as someone who the original Scream was one of my top favorite films, I was blown away by that film. So I just wanted to give you and the team kudos, and yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks, Mary. Trisha did share, and I will tell you, we did give a shout out because we've heard from several of you, right? I think for us on Scream, the support from exhibition, I think that was clearly, like, we can't say that wasn't part of the success. We're happy because we have a movie that actually rated high on Rotten Tomatoes, and the audiences actually love it. But people have to know about it, and you taking that content that we're providing and sharing it across your channels, that's incredibly meaningful. And it's great to hear that. And you shared, I think, a couple times with Trisha, because she normally would share, she'll text and say, hey, Mary, share the following. And it was very exciting to me that what I'm going to call it is, this is weird, but we're the older audience. Loved what we were seeing on screen and wanted, and it made us want to see the movie, and it definitely made the younger audience want to see the movie. So thank you, Mary. You got your support on the movie, and everyone's support, I think, was a reason we did what we did and surpassed where our original expectations were on the movie box office. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, I'm going to keep moving on. Miss Heidi Pinshaw, please say hello.
Hi, thank you very much. It's really, Pat, I don't know you, but I already understand why everyone's calling you the most loved woman in the profession.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. It was great to see
a lot of thank you notes. Just kidding.
So I wanted to ask you, in your exhibition days and the group here, we talk about innovative and thinking outside the box. I come from the touring exhibition world, and we're always looking for new dynamic spaces to enter into, especially with now that the museum space is becoming so slow and so small. We're doing a lot of out of home marketing and out of home experiences. Does anybody in the group and yourself see any kind of future for converting some of the existing space that's doing for movies to be a touring exhibition space where that brings a group of 800 to 1,200 people per night, physically having to go there and then giving them an opportunity to use that space a little bit differently. Has anybody thought that we love the space from the outside when we look in? We love it because it's a large space without a lot of columns. So that makes a very beautiful touring space for us. And all the other infrastructures are already built into it. So that's a question to see if anybody out there is interested. I did put my name up on, if anybody has any feedback on that, we would really appreciate any and some thoughts on that.
Okay, well, anybody has?
Yeah,
go ahead.
I have a quick question, and I might offline with you because it sounds like you want to use the the space in cinema to convert and actually bring what I'm going to call it's
Yeah.
a traveling museum and bringing it into the movie.
Yes, traveling experiences. Yes, an experience that relate to the movie industry.
Yeah,
Probably.
I'd be stunned that you don't have people on this chat today that would be interested in something.
Rebecca's raising her hand.
Yeah.
Okay,
Rebecca,
well,
I'll connect you guys.
and I put my name and number down. We're very interested. We're looking globally for this. We're starting in the United States, and we love that open space, and it can so easily convert and be a good different source of revenue. And you have to do it in the theater because you can't do it at home ever.
That's the reason you're creating a reason to leave your home.
Yeah.
That's what we all are trying to do, I think. And what you just said is a perfect example of thinking outside of the box, right?
Great.
Yeah.
Well,
And just in case any of you guys didn't know, Heidi's my twin. So I usually have to wear red lipstick so people can tell us apart. Okay, next up is Benjamin.
don't pay any attention that I'm 5 feet tall and she's 6 feet tall at all. It's kind of like I'm Danny DeVito. She's Arnold.
And Pat, I'll have to tell you a story about me working with Johnny Knoxville. I worked in his offices. That was crazy.
Hold on a second, Heather, I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
You have connections, when you talk about 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, I'm going to say 6 degrees of Heather Blair.
Okay, Benjamin, please say hello.
Hi, I'm Craig Reckner. Honestly, we work with a lot of YouTube talent lately. For example, Casey Neistat. That's probably someone who we can do something with movies. He loves that actually. He has actually played in a couple of movies. My question probably would be what's your take on? I think it's very interesting that, especially during COVID, we've seen this rise of kind of homemade social marketing. You can say probably even I think Tom Cruise has produced a lot of stuff just with his phone. Is this something that where typically you're this is kind of part of a marketing plan and stuff like that, or is this more something that's kind of just outside of it? I think it's interesting that when you see it, when you look at it, it's very different than, for example, professional made trailers, for example, right?
Right. So I think with the way that TikTok actually has sort of taken the world by storm, and in essence making us as individuals our own influencers, people love to be on camera, and I have to say that our company, on most of our movies, we do seek that out, and we do try to fuel that, right? The ability of someone being able to do something themselves and sharing it and having it become something. I mean, I'll give you an example. Laura Potts, the team at Regal, we sent them some masks. Wasn't a ton of masks. We sent them some masks, and they created a TikTok video that was really interesting, and they tagged us. And I'm telling you, it was their first viral video. They were so excited. They reached out to us this weekend. It was fantastic. They had 1.4 million views, and that was, I think, over the weekend. And it was it was just seconds of video, right? I think all those things add to excitement. And I think the part that is the most interesting, and it's why our digital team is so involved in seeing what people are actually posting, especially when it's tagged, is people, there is a certain generation where if you as a friend are telling them to do something, or you're seeing something from them, it's actually more powerful than them actually hearing from a celebrity, if that makes any sense.
Branded content, yeah.
So it's fascinating to me that you could do something that's so simple and it can actually just catch on. So yeah, those things to us are are really, really key and important. And if for those that haven't yet started and aren't on TikTok, I encourage it. Like we see there's a lot of small and large exhibition companies that are dabbling in it, and the success is pretty dramatic. Again,
so cool.
it's like another piece of that marketing arsenal.
I'm gonna pop down because I've got a private text from somebody, and then I'll move back up to Stacy. But Don Victor, do you want to go ahead and say hi, sweetheart?
Hello,
Gotta
all.
there. Yeah.
Thank you, Heather. Pat, thank you very much. You're obviously a wonderful soul. I'd reach out to Heather. Heather and I have worked together many years ago. And as you said, she is connected. So I reached out the other day and had a question for her about this industry that she's been a part of. I'm not, but I had a question in regard to these guys that make trailers, for instance. They may get handed 60 hours of footage for a 2-hour movie, and then they've got to make their clip. There's all these scenes, there's all these takes. And when that stuff gets put away in the vault and it never sees the light of day, I've got an interest in wanting to find out how to get a hold of, or who controls the various movie content. So if there's anybody out there that kind of can point me in the right direction, or how that's handled, basically scenes that have never been witnessed. All they know is the movie itself, but they don't have any context of all that other footage that never saw the light of day, hit the cutting room floor.
I don't know the exact answer. I will tell you, obviously, our films obviously have a greater life cycle, because you have theatrical, then you have home entertainment, you have EST, you have all these other, pieces of what I'm going to call like the revenue stream. So we do, at our company, we do have, they don't comb through 60 hours of things. They do go through behind the scenes content and other, like what I'm going to say, additives, and try to build out. I know what happens today, though, which is very different from how movies were made, decades ago, or the studios used to make for the most part, every movie. Now, there's so many production deals and other entities own that content. So if it's, Brad Pitt and his team, it's Plan B, and they're making the movies and they own and have rights to all of that content. And our studio, for instance, if we had one of their movies, we'd just be releasing it. So not sure, but I'm sure we could probably get you someone that you might be able to connect with on that front. It's a little bit more complex though, because like Sony doesn't have all of their movies. If they didn't make all their movies, they wouldn't have it. Same thing at our company. So we wouldn't have ownership of those films.
And it may make sense just to go direct to, like you say, a Brad Pitt that has the production company, owns the rights to the film. Maybe you start there.
If
Thank you so
anybody
much.
has, think they might have an answer, you guys can, Don put his contact in the chat. It'd be awesome. I just figured we have a lot of smart people in here that might be able to lead them to that answer quicker. All right, I'll continue to move on until we run out of time.
Thank you.
Teresa, please say hello.
Hey, Pat, thanks so much for joining us today. I think my question for you is, if you had to pick a movie from history or the span of movies to bring back and do a marketing campaign for now, what movie would it be, and what would your campaign be?
It's on the spot, Pat.
Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, I'll tell you what my favorite movie is, and it's A Wonderful Life. But I want it to, I'm not sure I would want it to be remade. But yeah.
You don't have to remake it. If you're doing a campaign now, what would you do to really make people excited about It's a Wonderful Life?
Oh, now, so I'm going to throw a question back to you. Is this, you're bringing the movie out because people haven't seen it, or we're just trying, you know what I mean? Is it a new movie, even though it's an old property? And so that's how I'm going to ask, that's how I'm going to take the question. So, on a movie like that, the movie is your biggest selling tool. So I'm a big proponent, and we advocate for this often. When we have a great movie and you're trying to sort of cut through? Like, how do you actually create that moment when people start talking about you? I think that's a movie that you could actually work with exhibition, and you could work and have it be, a big field marketing campaign with a word of mouth screening program. That would be number one. Like, in my head, is it's got enough to actually connect your heart to that experience. So seeing the movie and letting people talk about it would be the number one way, in my opinion, to actually do that. I also think that we have you'd be focusing on themes that movie is. And so I would be introducing like series of moments with establishing key moments that really evoke emotion. So there'd be a big, huge digital campaign of that content and rolling out. I wouldn't actually, it wouldn't be that different from how we market movies today. It's just you'd be building on how you feel after you see that movie. And I think that's the thing for all of us, right? Is movies make us feel a certain way. That particular movie, it doesn't matter that I've seen it, 20, 30 times. It still moves my heart and soul. And that to me is a sign of a great movie that you can see over and over again. So that would be my timeless classic. And I think that I would love to reintroduce it as opposed to remaking it. So thanks for sort of defining that it didn't have to be a remake.
Awesome. So if Patty, you have a little bit more time, can we keep going? Okay,
Sure.
we're gonna keep going. Melissa, please say hello. I know you love
Hi,
Pat.
Pat. I know everybody knows it. Welcome to everybody too that's new. I feel like we have a lot of new members. So I
We
just want to say
do.
hi and welcome. And Pat, I adore you. Thanks for the shout out earlier. You're such a light in this whole community and exhibition studios and all that. And you mentioned earlier about staying grounded. Do you have any like daily practices that you do, or just suggestions on how you stay grounded? Because the past 2 years have been very challenging for everybody, but I'm just really curious, your whole life, you're just such this light. So how do you stay in a positive mindset all the time and grounded?
Well, part of my daily little practice is waking up and giving thanks, right? Like I feel very blessed. I have a very wonderful, very full life. And I do believe that, I'm living a life that I'm not worthy of, but I'm very grateful for, right? So, and I think the biggest piece of that is I wake up and I love going to work. I love the people that I work with. I love the people we work with. I have a great family. I just have a lot of joy all around me. And I have found for me personally that being joyful in everything I do, even though I, like everyone else, obstacles, struggles, but it's how we deal with all of that, right? Because life is a series of constant evolving. And for me personally, I try to stay graceful and I ask for a lot, Melissa. So I'm a very faithful person. So I do speak to God often. And I do ask for patience, kindness, help me so that I'm not judgmental, help me to see the good, even though it might be difficult to see it right now. And I guess for me, I love the challenge. So this is what's hard. If I encounter a difficult situation, I instantly think, okay, I got to go above and beyond. How do I try to fix it? If I encounter someone, even out in the street, this person, there's turmoil, got to make a moment. Okay. Last week I was at Luna Grill and there was a woman behind me. I had a big order and I just turned around. I said, okay, I'm buying you dinner tonight. No, you don't have to do that. No, I'm buying your dinner. So I bought her and her husband their 2 dinners. She refused. Eventually she agreed. And I said, what's your name? Her name was Robin. Robin, I'm going to just challenge you now to go out and do some act of random kindness. So she asked me what my name was. So I think in our 5-minute conversation, she said my name like 6 times. And she just kept saying, Pat, I'm going out. I'm doing this. I like unexpectedness. I like to give back because I get so much from the people that God has put in front of me. So I just kind of, those are the things that I kind of try to like stay focused on, is being grateful for today and what I have. And that's all really for me, what I can do. And I like doing a lot, just because I'm telling you, my theater days, those theater managers, those staffs, like, you work crazy hours. So I work a lot of hours today because of my roots in what I grew up with, and what like has like served as a foundation for what my work ethic is like. And I'm grateful to my dad and my mom, because I'm telling you, for those of you that are parents, your kids, I had this conversation with my little nephew. I said, you know, sometimes your parents say things that you don't like. I mean, it's true. When you're a kid, you're like, yeah, my parents are telling me this. I'm not going to listen to them because I know better than them. Every conversation that you have with everyone, whether it's your children or the people that you're very blessed to come in contact with, I have learned, and this was instilled in me at a very young age, is how do you want to be treated? Treat everyone with the respect, the love, the joy. And I'm lucky I get that back.
You do. We love you. Okay, thanks, Melissa. I'm gonna hop. Sandy just wants to say hi. She's got to go, but she just wants to say a quick hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Sandy, how are
I
you?
just wanted to just say, and I say this, and I'm boring, I just think these ladies are amazing, and I will try and encourage anybody to come and sit on one of these sessions for an hour, because at the end of that hour, you go away feeling really pumped and positive about the industry that we're in and the amazing people that we deal with from day to day.
Thank you, Sandy. It's nighttime for her. She's in the UK.
Oh my God, Sandy,
Yeah.
thanks for joining, and well said, because I get the positivity from everyone that I'm seeing here. So.
All right, I'm going to keep moving. Robin stepped away, so I'll come back to her. Hi, Valerie.
Hello, how you doing? Hi, Patricia. It's so good to, yeah, it's just, I just wanted to say, and I wrote in the chat, I went back to school to get my degree. And I went and I set up an informational interview with Patricia, and she took time out of her day to meet with me. And I'm sorry, I don't want to get upset. You are so inspiring to me, because you never looked at me any other way, but as a person that you wanted to help. I'm sorry, I didn't think I was going to come out here and cry.
Valerie, you're making me get emotional.
I love you, Patricia. You have been so inspiring to me. I started off at Paramount as an assistant, and working as an assistant, it's hard to have people see you in another light as a lead. You know, I want people to recognize me for more than just an assistant. So I went back to school to get my degree at 50.
Like you do.
And I got it. And then I went back to school and got my paralegal. So I am now working in legal. And I don't know if you know, Patricia, but I'm working with approving the legal paperwork from the exhibitors on the movies now.
I love that. I love that.
And so I really love marketing. And I just want to say, I just really appreciate what you bring. The thing that I love most about you, you're very authentic. And it's really hard finding people like that working in the entertainment industry. And I'm just speaking honestly, because that's how I feel. That in the entertainment industry, it is hard to stay grounded, because you're around people that are, you know, real famous, and, you know, it's hard when you're in a, you know, as a leader. So I just want to let you know that I appreciate you. And I'm just excited about what's to come, you know, even through COVID, you're still like this bright, bubbly person. And I love that about you. So I just wanted to make a comment and let you know that I appreciate you.
No, you made me cry too, Valerie.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you so much
sorry.
for coming.
I did not
okay.
mean to get on here and cry.
Valerie,
And
you're such a rock star. I'm so proud of you. You know, I remember us getting together, and, you know, there's greatness. There was greatness in you then. There's greatness in you now. I am proud of you. You wanted something and you went out and got it. And that takes a lot of guts to do that. And and I my heart does hurt because I know that we also, we struggle with things, especially I think when it concerns career paths, right? I will tell you, I have the greatest respect for the executive team, assistants that support, because you guys are what makes it happen, Valerie. When you were doing what you were doing, you were making it happen. And I'll tell you that one of my little secret, like, this is like my secret strategy, is you got to know everyone, especially the right-hand people in the leadership offices. So that's always, to me, like, I guess I was taught, and I truly believe this to this day, is every role is important. I've had people ask, they're like, why are you introducing yourself to the people in the bathrooms, cleaning the bathrooms? I'm like, why? They have a job. Trust me. Do you want to clean bathroom? Yeah. I'm like, everyone has a job and everyone wants to do a good job. And if you really care, it doesn't matter which job you're doing. So long as, that's what I was taught. My father always told me that. It doesn't matter what your job is, you just need to do it, and you need to do it well. And I'm very grateful that he instilled that in me. And I through the years, I've had conversations, not often, because I'm very lucky with the team. In my group, several people started as the administrative assistant on our team, and they've grown into the department roles, into directors, etc. I'm very much if you have talent, you got to let them rise. And I'm grateful that I've been given the opportunity to do that. Yeah. It's important to just acknowledge everyone. And I'm just so proud of you. And I'm so happy to see you. And thank you for sharing your story. And I'm so happy you're in the business, and you're doing something that's even grander. So congrats to you.
Thank you. This is amazing. Okay, Robin, you're finally back sitting down. We're going to just take a couple more because I know everybody's got schedules and they're hopping off, but we'll just do a few more. And this is what happens when people want to chat. It's the beauty and the curse. Go ahead, Robin. Please say hello.
Hey guys, it's Robin. And hey, new announcement today. I am going to be consulting again with the Film Expo group, selling sponsorships and back home with my people. So, and I'm also still working for the Screen Dollars guys, trying to help them out as well. So that's what I'm doing, but it's about Pat today. So it's so good to see you, Pat. And always thank you for being so generous with your time and your advice. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Robin, and hats off to you, because I know how hard you work. Obviously we've worked with one another with everything that you've done.
And we'll be working together again. I'll be reaching out for those congratulatory ads in the program journals and those sponsorships to come.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I got AT&T here hooking up new fiber internet for me, so that's why I was jumping around. But I'm listening. As long as they have my internet still hooked up, I'm listening.
Good
stuff. All right, we're going to keep on going. So we're just going to grab a few more. So Lydia, you're next. Sweetheart, please say hello. Oh, you got to unmute. There you are.
Oh, hi. No, I just am happy to join today. It's my first session with WIE. And so thanks so much.
What do you do, Lydia?
Oh, I'm in Toronto at the Cineplex, Canada's largest chain of exhibition theaters.
Excellent.
And I'm actually in the events cinema department, which is the live events on the movie screen. So we do the opera and wrestling and concerts and anything that's not a feature film. So unlike films, it's a little more challenging with marketing and things like that. So, but I've been here 14 years and I absolutely love it. So you just never know what it's the industry. You just don't know what the next thing's going to be.
Excellent. Make sure you put your contact in there so we can say hi to you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. And this lovely young lady, I don't know how to say your name. It's NKEM. Okay. Please say hi.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for allowing me in. My name is Nkem. Okay. Yes. So I'm actually very grateful for this opportunity, and Pat had impacted me so much, and I am very grateful for it. I really thank Sandy for introducing me to this group of wonderful people. I know, like I said in the comment, it's going to help me, and it would be a new turn for me, even in my present role. I am from Nigeria. I'm joining from Nigeria, and I work with Film House Cinemas Limited. Yes. So this is my first time in this meeting, and I am very, very grateful for it. I just wanted to say that and say thank you for allowing me in.
Excellent. We're so glad you came and that you took time from so far away. I think you might have won the furthest attendee person contest. And I'll just make two more. We'll grab Deborah and then Shelley. And then I'm so sorry because I know Pat's busy, and Pat, I knew we'd have a good turnout, so, so it's going to happen. So Deborah, please say hello. I know you just disappeared, but hopefully you're coming back. She disappeared. Or should I hop over to Shelley? Shelley, I'll hop over to you and then we'll jump back to Deborah.
Hi, Pat. I just came just to support you. You know, I love you so much. You are a true inspiration. So that's it.
Thank you, Shelley. And you know what? Right back at you, rock star. I'm so grateful that you're part of my village.
I'm grateful to have you.
Okay, Deborah, there you are.
Hi, how's everyone doing today?
Fabulous.
It is so wonderful to see you and all the ladies here. It's been a while, but I thank you so much. The presentation was awesome. It was great information. I think we've all walked away, like as I said, as everyone has been saying and echoing the same, that we just all love you so much. And, you know, it's truly a blessing and an honor to, you know you not only in the business, but know you personally. And to be able to share the experiences that we have. It's been quite a number of years. And I just wish you well, wish everyone well here on the line. And thank you again for sharing your experiences and this time with us today.
Yeah,
all right.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you.
So with that, I'm going to go ahead and say adieu to everyone. And I'm sorry we didn't make it all the way through the room. You guys can always email me, Heather B @Women in Exhibition. Make sure you guys fill out your form. We want to feature you on the We Member Spotlight. And we want to see a picture of you that's not your headshot. We want to ask you a few questions about who the heck you really are, just like we got to know Pat today. So if you haven't filled out that form yet, email me and I'll get it to you because we want to know our members. And until the next time, you guys, thanks for being the best part of We.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to see everyone. Take care.
Okay, so
stay positive. Stay well.